Senator Vance.
The big chunkus.
Thank you, Senator. Governor Walz, do you care to respond?
Give me money for my top surgery or your child gets sick.
48 minutes of dogs barking. 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 Growl. Growl. 48 minutes of dogs barking. 48 minutes of dogs barking.
Hold on a second. I gotta tell the dog something. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. That is literally a command of his. Tell him to fuck off.
Does it work?
And he fucks off.
That's fantastic.
It works like 90% of the time.
I love it.
Yeah, you tell him to go away or stop, it doesn't really work. If you tell him to fuck off, he's like, oh.
Oh,
Okay.
you're serious. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay, this is for real now. We're recording remotely. If I sound different, it's because I'm recording at the house, and Mr. Jason here is at the chalet.
I've been under the weather.
He got doo-doo ass.
One of the weirdest stories come across the wire this week is courtesy of Taylor Lorenz writing for User Mag. A pro click if you're not already getting that newsletter. Taylor Lorenz here writing, the Snoopy fan account political war. Apparently a Twitter account goes by the name @SnoopyWeekly. It started posting pro-Trump messages. The post was, this election season @SnoopyWeekly proudly endorses Donald J. Trump for president. We want better for our family and our great country, make America great again. And of course, as expected, people went fucking off on this Snoopy Weekly account. One of my favorite posts was just this one up here, @GirlGenius. It's @GIR1 Genius. All caps, fuck Snoopy Weekly. Brian, did you know there was an entire subculture online of all Snoopy accounts?
I was not aware. This is a new thing. This feels like old internet.
It really does.
Stumbling into the new era.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a little bit of this on Twitter in my usage over the last week or so. And it was just like, oh, okay, like that, when we put lead in everything, it's really coming back around again. We put lead in paint, we put in gasoline, like,
we messed this up again, yeah.
I don't know if you ever had, like, in college or whatever, like, in biology class where they had you, like, fucking destroy a strawberry until it was just, like, a white strand, and you're like, that's the DNA, and you're like, okay. I guess that's what we're just like, oh, there it is. There's the crazy shit.
Yeah. Well, and I think the most egregious thing of this was that Snoopy Weekly then also posted an image where it was Snoopy shaking Charles Schultz style Donald Trump's hand, obviously created with AI, and just spitting on the grave of the man. I mean, Lord almighty. To use Snoopy for political points, I always felt like that was the domain of, like, Calvin pissing on things, you know?
The mascot of Cedar Point?
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe that. I'm never going to Cedar Point again.
Yeah, unbelievable. But yes, according to Taylor here, the account immediately faced a wave of backlash. One person who goes by the Twitter handle Hawkeye Presents says, quote, Twitter user Snoopy Weekly, you will burn for the dirt you have thrown on an innocent name. Hot damn.
The Ayatollah has issued a fatwa on Snoopy Weekly.
And you know what?
We go to Salman Rushdie in the hot seat here for commentary.
It is haram what they are doing.
Snoopy Weekly is haram.
So, yeah, it's very odd. Snoopy Weekly also tagged End Wokeness, Tucker Carlson, Greg Gutfeld, multiple members of the Trump family, and Hulk Hogan in its announcement.
Listen here, brother. Don't kick that football. It's a liberal plot. They're going to pull it away from you, just like the victory in Vietnam.
Now, the other thing I find interesting is that Snoopy Weekly is but one of many, obviously. There's so many Snoopy accounts, and they're all, for some reason, verified, even though none of them are connected to the family of Charles Schultz.
Well, they're paying the Elon bucks.
Of course. Well, there was one Daily Snoopy, which was raising funds for Palestine, Sudan, other humanitarian crises. There's at Bad Snoopy 2_, openly identifies as conservative. Other Snoopy accounts are, of course, pushing crypto projects. Just, it's going down in the Snoopy fandom, as it were. But yes, Jamie Loftus, who does the podcast 16th Minute of Fame, wrote on Twitter, for those outside the Snoopy community, Snoopy Weekly recently made an aggressive fascistic push at Daily Snoopies is the way to go. And I do agree with Jamie on that. So you have to pick a side with your Snoopy accounts, I guess, these days.
I'm apolitical Snoopyist.
Oh, okay. How's that working out for you?
Pretty bad.
Miles Klee also wrote a wonderful article in Rolling Stone. Former guest of the show, Miles Klee. This weekend, the Spotted Beagle Snoopy, star of the Peanuts comics and cartoons, found himself at the center of a political whirlwind, but that's what happens when someone leverages the popularity of a fictional dog to endorse a candidate for president. Miles also had this to say: the nostalgic Americana of Peanuts can't shield us from the violence of the moment. The Snoopy fans, meanwhile, clearly consider it a responsibility to use their platforms to guide the course of history. For whatever reason, you don't see Garfield accounts doing that. And you know why?
Yeah, because Garfield's a Poseidist.
Yes. He's also on the flight logs, but that's a whole nother...
I thought he was on the no-flight list.
He's actually on both somehow. Yeah,
because on 9/10 he tweeted that he'd been up to no good.
Been a very bad boy.
Been a very bad boy. That infamous comic, which is why Jim Davis, I think, has never referenced 9/11 or anything like that.
He's being very safe. Jim Davis knew what was coming and he let it happen, I think is what we're saying.
You can't see because he's not in the image, but he was in the Situation Room with Obama during the Bin Laden raid.
Let me be clear. Nermal would have done this.
We're shipping Nermal to Abu Ghraib.
Well deserved.
Well deserved.
All my homies hate Nermal. But you know what all my homies don't hate? Dakota Johnson movies. Aside from Madam Web, I'll give you Madam Web. But this is just a goofy-ass story. I love it, courtesy of the Daily Beast. Airline apologizes for playing R-rated Dakota Johnson movie on flight. Will Neal, freelance reporter, writing here, Australia's biggest airline, that's Qantas, apologized Monday after accidentally screening, quote, 40 minutes of penis and boobs to an entire aircraft of unwitting passengers, reported by The Guardian to have taken place on a Qantas flight from Sydney to Tokyo. The cockpit cock-up, apparently, thank you, Will, for that bit of writing, apparently occurred after a technical fault rendered individual in-flight movie selection unavailable. Staff held a quick poll, which resulted in a small selection of passengers picking this year's racy Dakota Johnson flick Daddio, which features an erect penis, prolonged sexting exchanges, and profuse use of the F word to play on every screen.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Actually, sorry guys. We don't have Cannibal Holocaust. Here's Daddio.
We don't have the Garfield movie.
Faces of Death, Volume 3 and 4. No, we don't have those. Sorry, Daddio.
We don't have Kinds of Kindness, but we have Daddio.
What do you mean you have news filtered blocked? This is bullshit.
It was apparently only halfway through the movie that eyebrows were sufficiently raised for staff to then change it to something a bit more family-friendly. A Qantas spokesperson was quoted as, "The movie was clearly not suitable to play for the whole flight. We sincerely apologize." One person quoted here as, "The film was featuring Dakota Johnson. I really thought they were playing Madam Web or something." Yeah, see? That I don't remember Spider-Man.
Deep Throat.
Yeah. I don't remember Spider-Man doing this. Yeah.
They were breaking out the 3D glasses and they were playing disco dolls and hot skin.
See? Yeah, it's behind them.
And they're like, once they realize the scene where the lady has the strap on and she's gesturing at the camera, and you're like, whoa! The head on the one shot.
Yeah.
They were like, wait a second, this ain't right.
Yeah.
I thought we were watching the second Tron movie. I was really confused when when the guy got off the helicopter to get jacked off.
I thought that was Jeff Bridges' character. I don't know what was going on there. Yeah. I don't know. Same hairstyle and everything. I don't know. Well, aside from that fun bit of business, I was visiting Twitter the other day, as I am wont to do, kind of like how you go to the graveyard sometimes, because, it's where posts go to die. And I noticed an account called Real Raw News. Brian, do you know about this? Real Raw News?
Yeah, that's an offshoot of Nude Africa.
Okay, great. So, at Real Raw News 1, because they couldn't get the original, is the Twitter account that broke this story. Quote, "We have spoken to a Marine sniper who reportedly now has 5 confirmed FEMA kills in North Carolina. He has told us, quote, it's the fight of our lives." Community Notes stepped in to mute this brave patriot, saying the account is either unlabeled satire or someone with a deeply delusional concept of what's happening in the world. Their profile includes the bio sharing what some don't want shared. Don't be a sheep. According to their bio, also based out of Dallas, Texas, which would make them real close to InfoWars. Interesting.
Also to where JFK was assassinated.
Well, that's
apparently
true.
they took the X off the ground, which I always thought was like, is this like for gloating or for remembrance?
I think that was for when George H.W. was still around. Like, this is where, remember? He's like, oh, yeah, of course. He doesn't remember where he was that day. What are you talking about?
I've been to the grassy knoll. I could have made that shot. I could absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah?
With a cold, I could have made that shot. It would have been so easy.
It's just, it's amusing to me.
It's simple as.
Child's play. Yeah.
But the time I was down there at Daily Plaza, this was like, 2005, 2000. It was the weekend of my 20th birthday, and I had family that lived in the area. This is before like social media, like MySpace was just starting to be a thing. But the amount of people around my own age, again, weekend of my 20th birthday, that were running down when there wasn't traffic to have their friend take a photo of them standing on the X where JFK got domed. Fucking rule.
Yeah.
Like I remember my grandparents just being like, that ain't right. And I'm just like, no, that's tight.
It's kind of.
I wish I had cooler cousins because I would have had them do the same for me.
Yeah. So a real raw.
Well, I'm sorry, but anyways, this plays back into the Texas being a weird ass fucking place and
absolutely.
weird ass shit coming out of Texas.
So our good friend Felix at By Your Logic, my friend is a FEMA sniper and told me he's taken out 9 Marines in North Carolina in just this last 24 hours, and he's not even the best sniper I know. Good luck. So then it created this idea that there's now snipers that work for FEMA and snipers that are Marines, and they're fighting each other.
Oh, hell yeah.
Clout Vonnegut. I can confirm that FEMA has deployed mobile units to North Carolina. Luckily, I, a Marine sniper, have just unearthed the Unicorn Gundam. So there you go. That's it. It's over for the FEMA snipers and their mobile suits.
Felix tweeting again, if you see a stationary seed man with several scarves, just pray to your god of choice. You're going to die, and there's nothing you can do about it at that point. Referring to Steven Seagal's most recent movies, where he has what I believe Nick Mullen has described as the Edmonds Donut goatee, and he is so lethargic now that he rarely stands in his movies. So he's just like sitting there and be like, wow, that's really tough, lady bitch, that you have to prostitute yourself.
I'm a man of peace.
I'm a man of peace. Will you have weird, stilted movie sex with me?
None so amusing as this one at Candorus Ordo Liberal. Sorry, at Butleriano, the handle, Candorus Ordo Liberal. One of my cousins is a FEMA sniper, and the other is a Marine sniper. Group chat is off the walls right now.
Chat is insane. The chatters are going wild.
F in the chat for all the FEMA snipers getting murked by the Marines. Yeah, just not good.
Well, at least it's not like, the idea that the hurricanes are being brought on by like Jewish hurricane machines.
Yeah, we covered that last week. We were talking about Magic the Gathering Green,
MTG.
whatever's her fucking name. Yeah, Marley.
Yeah,
Marley and
I
me Green.
didn't know that was going to. I didn't know that was going to go further.
Yeah, well, because some of the other conspiracy theories I've heard is that the hurricanes were created as cover for the white hats to go in and get the mole children that are living underground.
Oh, we're going back to the mole children.
Oh yeah, baby.
Really?
We're bringing out all the hits.
We're going back. That is quite sincerely my favorite COVID conspiracy theories, that they brought I guess the Navy medical ship to New York City, and that they had the COVID testing site in Central Park as cover for getting the mole children
Exactly.
out of Central Park. Still amazing.
Yeah, and then the other one was that the one in North Carolina specifically was put in place, and evacuation orders were there so that the federal government could come in through eminent domain and seal the lithium out of the ground, because apparently we need lithium really, really bad, enough to kill a bunch of people. So that's a fun one.
Well, there is a mine in, I think it's Carolina, that has is the only place where you can get a certain thing that you need for superconductors and modern electronics. So it's kind of important,
but also
doesn't get damaged, because that would be kind of like the end of the modern world to some extent.
Right. Well, there's other places that you can get some of these rare metals, but yeah, you're right. It's a huge repository of it. Well, speaking of the end of the modern age, the Internet Archive, starting yesterday, really, it was Wednesday the 9th, it got really badly owned. I don't know if you've tried to go to archive.org lately, Brian.
I haven't really been on the internet, but I have heard about this, and it is upsetting.
Mm-hmm. So about 9 o'clock in the p.m. yesterday, the pop-up said, "Have you ever felt like the Internet Archive runs on sticks and is constantly on the verge of suffering a catastrophic security breach? It just happened. See 31 million of you on HIBP. HIBP refers to Have I Been Pwned, a website where you can find whether your personal information has been leaked from a data breach. So this here, according to The Verge, and that is Wes Davis writing here, a tweet from Have I Been Pwned says 54% of the accounts from archive.org were already in its database from previous breaches. Troy Hunt, the operator at Have I Been Pwned, saying, 30th of September, someone sends me the breach. I'm traveling. Didn't realize the significance. 5th of October, I get a chance to look at it and whoa. 6th of October, I get in touch with someone at the Internet Archive and send the data. And so, yeah, it was the past couple days, so they realized things went horribly, horribly awry. Jason Scott, an archivist and software curator for the Internet Archive, is also reporting that the website, after somewhat recovering from being pwned, is now getting hit with a distributed denial of service attack, a DDoS attack, posting on Mastodon that, according to their Twitter, they're doing it just to do it. Just because they can. No statement, no idea, no demands. Brewster Colley from Internet Archive also saying, yep, what we know. The attack is fended off for now. Defacement of our website. Breach of usernames. We've disabled JavaScript. We're scrubbing our systems. We'll let you know more as we know it. And as far as right now, if you go to archive.org, it is still temporarily offline. It says, please check our Twitter feed for the latest. So, oh boy, that is a very, very large piece of internet history just gone.
Henry Gilbert of Talking Simpsons and What a Cartoon and a billion other things had just posted on Twitter today about how he was doing research for a movie that came out in 2012. And when he was trying to do online research for this movie, he realized that half of the articles that he was trying to find had been disabled. They had been taken down. They had been scrubbed from the original websites. But then, with archive down, it's hard to even try and research anything. Everything's dead links. Everything's been fucking scrubbed, but the SEO is still there. Mm-hmm. The digital rot is here, and it feels bad, man.
Well, yeah, because if one site is the repository of all knowledge and that site gets fucked, Oh, baby. I thought that the lawsuit was a problem. This is worse. If you remember that a while back, there was a bunch of
Sure.
authors suing Internet Archive about, you lent out books during the pandemic and we could have made money from, and they won, basically. Not great.
Not great at all. Feels bad.
No, it feels really bad for like this show, especially because like we do rely a lot on that resource and that kind of thing. And Godspeed and good luck to them. I really hope that, hopefully, with their funding, that they're a nonprofit, they can get back online relatively quickly. But man, not just personally because we do the show based on it, but just for like, did you ever wonder what the old Matrix websites used to look like? You can look it up there. Well, you can't anymore, or whatever.
What did the Pepsi website look like in 1996?
Exactly.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Why would this be a target? Why of all things Internet Archive? Go after Pepsi. Go after go after SodaStream. Somebody, anybody. But fucking Internet Archive, really?
Go after fucking Crocs, But I think it probably comes back to that fucking brand of nihilism that's been bred deeply and thoroughly in the internet over the last 10, 15 years.
Just some black-pilled Zoomers.
People? I mean, I hate to be... There are people that got nothing better to do, but it's true.
Well, at least back in our time, this type of thing would have had a purpose. Like, let's shut down Scientology's website because they're assholes. And, where's Shelley? But, a mission, a plan, something. It just feels directionless. Hey, this place that it's a really good thing. It's a net positive for the internet. Hey, let's take that down. You'll have to explain it to me because I don't get it.
I think it goes back to... I mean, to go further on the thought, like it goes back to this nihilistic sense, this watching the world burn, watching. There's a certain breed of person or a certain behavior that is encouraged through the internet, particularly in its modern incarnation, which is highly corporatized and leans definitely right of center, that I can only describe as getting joy out of holding a child's head underwater.
Oh, God damn, yeah. Grim, but it feels right. I guess that means it's time to talk about more dumb shit about corporatized nonsense. That's right, it's Crypto Scam the Week.
You're listening to 48 Minutes of Dogs Barking, the podcast.
And now it's time for the Crypto Scam of the Week.
Yeah, baby. Let's shuck that corn.
Indeed. So this here from Newsweek, Jasmine Law is writing, Lego's website was momentarily hacked early this past Saturday by a crypto scam promoting a fake Lego coin token. So, again, impersonation scams, not outside of the realm of possibility. We've covered it many, many times here. It's going to continue. But Lego, in particular, has such a specific cachet among man children of our age, 38 to 40 something, They're going on the Lego website to see what the newest collectible is and like, oh, there's a Lego coin. I got my crypto wallet. Let's click this shit.
I love free money.
Exactly. The actual icon did say, our new Lego coin officially out. Buy the new Lego coin today and unlock secret rewards. And it was also accompanied by the Lego Fortnite logo, because that is a thing. That is real. That's not a fake. Lego Fortnite is, unfortunately, a thing. Because, sure, why not? The hack, or the takeover of the webpage, lasted only about less than an hour and a half. So it's, according to Newsweek, 75 minutes. And they're quoting Cointelegraph. When clicked on, the link in that header took you to Uniswap. We all know... Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Oh.
What makes this particularly egregious is that Lego has created collectible coins previously.
Sure.
So that you could get the coins by redeeming VIP points. You could go to this like VIP reward center, which is a whole thing. Like if you're a Lego member and you go to the store all the time and you get all these points for buying Lego kits, you can get this coin. But it's not a thing that is regular. I always find it odd when threat actors, they get access to, it's fucking Lego.com, and the first thing you do is not, I don't know, anything fun or interesting, but like, hey, put your money in this Uniswap token. It's like, of all the shit you can do with that.
We're in a world that is suffering from a lack of imagination.
Yeah, because that is definitely what this feels like. Because, like, okay, you got access to Lego's website. Why don't you, I don't know, get credit card information? Or, like, I don't know. Like, just it seems like there's so much more you could have done with this opportunity. Not that I'm encouraging anyone to hack corporate websites, but if you're going to do it, you might as well go big or go home, right? If you're going to do it,
absolutely.
do something with it. Fucking commit like a real crime, not this pump and dump middly piddly bullshit.
Middly piddly bullshit.
I know. I felt like a Smiling Friends character there for a second.
Yeah, middly piddly bullshit. Charlie, stop doing all that middly piddly bullshit.
Pib, man, look, I do sound like Charlie right now. So yeah, it's a Pib, man. I hacked the Lego website, man. I don't know what I was doing. I was up late last night. I figured it out, but you want to make some crypto, buddy?
Charlie, that's dishonest.
Who gives a shit, Pib?
Did someone say they were going to create a crypto coin?
No, Alan would know how. He absolutely would.
I took some C++ classes in high school.
Yeah. But yeah, it just feels like, why? You had a golden opportunity to do something interesting, and you did this. That's why I was feeling about these impersonation ones, especially if it's like a celebrity. You had a golden fucking opportunity, and you use it on crypto?
Yeah, it's, again, lack of imagination. I wish people did more interesting shit. That's kind of where we're at.
So according to CoinMarketCap, the Lego coin on Uniswap, it didn't really get that big a balance. It went from like 0 to 0.00003721, and now it's at like 0.00003677. It didn't even get above 1. Couldn't even get to 0.1. I just total liquidity 1K. Market cap of $700. Just pathetic. Do better, I think is what we're saying.
Get good.
Well, speaking of doing better, it's our main topic this week, Brian.
Oh, are we talking about Drudge Report?
Brian, this really fucked me up because I realized it's been 28 years since the Drudge Report first appeared as an entity. Were you aware of this? That it's been that long?
I was somewhat aware of that. Like, it was not outside my realm of knowledge.
According to Wikipedia, actually the DBpedia, excuse me, Drudge Report, founded by Matt Drudge, oddly enough, it started as a gossip column focusing on both Hollywood and DC. It's so odd. So according to this, it was an email-based newsletter. So with our Substacks and whatnots, we're back. We're back to Drudge Report. Everyone gets their personalized Drudge Report in their email every day. God knows I get like 20 of them. But yeah, he was living in Hollywood, and he was kind of a wannabe Hollywood guy, wannabe producer, I guess, or a media insider, whatever he wanted to be. He was living in an apartment in Hollywood. He just started putting out this email newsletter to anybody who'd sign up for it. He launched the Drudge Report from his home and then was able to quit his job and start covering politics, this according to Britannica. During the 96 presidential campaign, he was the first to report, accurately, Bob Dole's choice of his running mate. In 97, based on an unpublished Newsweek article, he ran one of the first stories about Bill Clinton's sexual harassment case. This is Kathleen Willey, one of the cases that kind of got forgotten about with Jennifer Flowers and Monica Lewinsky kind of taking up the political air there. Now, he also got in a little bit of hot water. He ran a story saying that White House aide Sidney Blumenthal had a history of spousal abuse. That got him slapped with a lawsuit. 98 was when shit really broke for him. By 98, in January, Newsweek had gotten an article all together about Bill Clinton's affair with Monica Lewinsky. But Matt Drudge scooped him. He scooped him because Newsweek was going to not publish And so in the early days, Matt Drudge was really seen as a guy who was holding corporate media to the fire. He called himself a citizen journalist. That's probably one of the first times I ever heard that phrase. Constantly saying that he was going to push stories that the mainstream media were refusing to print. That got him a weekly program on Fox News.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Shit.
he had a weekly program on Fox News for about a year. His features only lasted about a year because he claimed in 1999 that Fox News was censoring his show, basically accusing Fox of censorship. The reason for that censorship is because he planned to show a photo of a 21-week-old fetus to make a point about partial birth abortion. Now, he still stayed on the air on the radio with ABC for another year, but they also fired him late in 2000. Now, the website really didn't take off until around this point, during which he was also writing a book. He wrote the 2001 book, The Drudge Manifesto. He also started a new radio show on WABC, The Matt Drudge Show. WABC, that's right. It's really fascinating. So he started out just kind of pumping out these stories. He got a few good scoops. He got a big name for himself, and then he's been coasting ever since. Now, there have been so many stories that the Drudge Report has accurately reported. Obviously, the Monica Lewinsky stuff. There's been some... most of it is in the early days. As he's going on, I feel like he's really attracted the wackadoos, the complete weirdos. And because his website started in 1998 to 2000 era, he hasn't changed the website at all. That's the weird thing about it to me is that this website has not changed very much just with the way it looks.
Yeah, it still looks very Internet 1.0. It's really more like 1.5.
The formatting's all wonky. Everything is exactly as it was 25 plus years ago. Boy, he's just packing on all these stories, and a lot of them are from, questionable sources. So here's MSN, okay. The Nation, okay. You're kind of... Some of these ones were better than others. OC Register, okay. Nextgov.com, okay. He's able to, and I doubt Matt Drudge does a lot of this himself these days, but it feels like there's still a curatedness to it, even though it's probably not accurate, but it still does. But no one's heard from him in a while.
He's been gooning.
It's true. But, Drudge Report has also been behind some real unfortunate stuff. The Swift Boat Veterans for Truth back in 2004, where this group made claims about John Kerry's war record. They were mentioned by Drudge, and Drudge kind of promoted that book. Unfit for Command was the name of the book.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Drudge also was a big pusher of this photo of Barack Obama in what looked like, of course, in 2004, 2008 terms, it's a terrorist garb. It was actually like some traditional Somalian headdress thing. But, he was putting that on the front page, The fucking British royals about Prince Harry serving in Afghanistan. He's been all over the place. And like I said, Sidney Blumenthal sued him for $30 million. Now, it did take 4 years, but Blumenthal did drop that lawsuit. He did agree to pay for attorney fees and travel costs. And even the judge in that case, who was a Bill Clinton appointee, noted in the judgment that Drudge is, quote, not a reporter, a journalist, or a news gatherer. He is, as he admits himself, simply a purveyor of gossip. Okay. It kind of works. Because, he did that bit about Bill Clinton having an illegitimate child. I don't know if you remember this one. Star Magazine and Hard Copy both had this supposed videotape. And it was a confession of a former prostitute. Well, interestingly enough, they used a sample of Clinton's DNA found on Monica Lewinsky's dress Right?
Folks, you won't believe this. We're going through the looking glass here.
So they did the DNA test. The illegitimate child, not his child, despite people trying to bring that back up when Hillary ran.
We've got to get a better DNA test. We got to get Tricky Dick to jack off on other drugs.
Slick Willie. Yeah, that's my buddy. He was one of the ones pushing, I don't know if you remember this one, during the Barack Obama election 2008. So yeah, it was before the election. He ran a story about Ashley Todd, the college Republican National Committee employee and a John McCain volunteer who had the backwards B carved in her face.
How'd I know? I just had a feeling. That name felt vaguely familiar, like it has to be that person.
Yeah. The big headline, too, I have this here. Shock. McCain volunteer attacked and mutilated in Pittsburgh. And yeah, of course, Todd later said, yeah, that was a hoax. Because she cut herself in the mirror. So the B was backwards.
Yeah.
And apparently this wasn't the first time Ashley Todd had done something like that, by the way. Apparently when she was working for a Ron Paul group, she had done something similar.
Absolutely amazing. We fucking love
This
it.
ain't your first time, huh? Yeah, I mean, it included some articles about birtherism, but who didn't? Truthfully, like what news outlet?
His middle name's Hussein.
Well, yeah.
All that shit was so fucking nuts. We are so inundated and infatuated by all of the current right-wing grifter shit that we forget, just that there was something a little more innocent but equally brain dead.
Yeah.
And it was the Tea Party movement.
Yeah, I mean, even pre-Tea Party, there was just still some real wackadoos out there. I mean, you had Michelle Malkin and all these people at Drudge himself. Like the Swift Vote Veterans thing was complete bullshit. And it was it was some disgruntled guys who knew John Kerry, sort of. And, and this did about Sidney Blumenthal. Like, oh, yeah, he beats his wife. Like, really? And you're going to go that without any sourcing. That type of shit. Like, we still have it. We still had it. But it was presented with the sheen of journalism. These days, it's just anybody with a mic can get on and start talking shit. Like, yeah, J.D. Vance fucks a couch or whatever it is.
Right.
There was at least the facade. They pretended a little bit harder. Because at least Drudge and his ilk, I mean, there were so many blogs like his, but his still remains, whereas a lot of these are gone. I mean, you name it. Chances are they were on the front page of FARC for a while, or, they've Malkin, or their early days of InfoWars. There were some people that were just real loons, but they were the quiet ones. But it was guys like Drudge that really mainstreamed these ideas. In 2016, he had that photo of Hillary Clinton being helped up a set of stairs, which then led to Trump using that photo, quoting it in a tweet with quote hashtag Hillary Health. Even recently, 2017, with the Las Vegas shooting, he included some articles with conspiracy theories about that guy, which there were weird things happening with that story, and that's as far as I want to go with it. That story is still bizarre to me. I look, $300 of sushi comped is all I'm going to say.
I haven't really gone confirm this, but I guess the assumption that we're all just going to live with, because we kind of collectively have to move on here, is that he was just mad that he wasn't getting treated as well as he was by the casinos.
That's the line. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to go with, I guess.
Apparently he also had rented out hotel rooms at Lollapalooza, that would have been in view of Lollapalooza that year and stuff like that.
Oh, that were upcoming after that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I guess that's just the one that he picked. He had a couple different options.
He said, yeah, this time, yeah, Luke Bryant, fuck him. I don't even remember if it was Luke Bryant, but okay, Jason Aldean was on stage performing When She Says Baby. Oh, boy.
When she says bump stock.
Perfect. Cut, print, no notes. Boy, what started with email newsletters became this huge, because you would see Drudge Report referenced in movies and stuff. Not directly, but it would be a web page in that style. You know what I mean?
Right.
You would the big, because he would put the siren emojis on either side of the headline, right? So it'd be like, big alert, Bill Clinton in big trouble or whatever, just this one here, The Divided We Fall bit, is a great article. It's called The Drudge Revolution. It was published like 4 years ago. A guy named Matthew Lysiak. He's a staff reporter for New York Daily News, but this is part of the book that he wrote called The Drudge Revolution, the untold story of how talk radio, Fox News, and a gift shop clerk with an internet connection took down the mainstream media. A little unwieldy for the title of a book, Matthew, but I will give him that it definitely is true. He talks about how Matt Drudge, in the mid-'90s, met Andrew Breitbart. And I think there's a nice little dovetail right there. I mean, Andrew Breitbart.
Just like a passing of the baton, really.
Well, yeah, because they worked together for a time. I mean, Matt had Andrew on staff, technically, as the morning editor, basically. So Breitbart was on the Drudge Report as the morning editor. This here, according to Matthew. His job was to find links he thought were drudge-worthy and then post them. Now, this again, according to Matthew, every time Breitbart posted an article critical of Obama, Drudge would pull it down and replaced it. Andrew asked Matt why he was doing that. Matt replied, an Obama presidency might be terrible for the country, but it would be great for his website. It's so strange. But yes, conservatives do perform better under Democratic presidents because there's a bad guy that you can point at and say, look at how terrible.
There's an bungler.
Yeah.
There's an bungler in the White House.
Sleepy Joe, whoever it is, there's a Slick Willie. It's like, look at that guy. Doesn't that guy suck?
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, and it's strictly a business decision, and I completely understand why he has this idea, because a lot of the right-wing grifters are doing the exact same shit right now. Maybe they don't necessarily believe in Trump 100%, but they're going to pretend, they're going to go along. But really what they want is to be like, look at this black woman. Isn't she terrible for this country? Send me money. To help fight.
She fucked a coconut.
Yeah, they're completely missing the point of all the memes.
She was taken off TV for 2 weeks for ingesting too much horse semen.
They can't even get their own jokes straight. Yeah. The thing about, because I listen to right-wing talk radio because I have a brain the size of the entire galaxy.
They're calling her Mrs. Hands.
Yes. Oh, God. Yes. But as I was saying, I listen to right-wing talk radio because I have a brain the size of a walnut. And every once in a while, I want to feel what it's like to be a normal person. And then I start listening to guys like Sean Hannity, and I'm like, this hurts. I got to stop. But it's the same thing. Sean Hannity's been doing the same shtick since the Obama years. I remember when the Obama presidency was counting down, and there was an announcement every day on Hannity's show. It's like, 32 days until the end of this Obama nation. Like, just some real shit. And they're doing the same shit with Biden now. And, it's painful. But, yeah, without a simultaneously weak and strong enemy, the conservative talk radio business kind of takes a dive.
Yeah?
That's what it feels like. I mean, I know Rush Limbaugh didn't do as well ratings-wise when George W. Bush was in office. Let's put it that way.
It's going to be a lot tougher when you're a sore winner.
Yes.
Which is what conservatives have basically been for the last 20-some-odd years, whenever they get their way.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember being at a Thai restaurant, out of all places, in mid-2017, and my friend and I were sitting there, and we had a lot to talk about. But we were completely silent because, the table next to us was, some guy complaining about how, my kids won't talk to me because I support Donald Trump and blah, blah, blah. And, I wish I could remember the specifics. But it was really just basically, my guy won. I got everything I want. And now I am reaping what I sow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you got what you want. And the thing is, people are going to hate you for it. Isn't that funny?
Uh-huh.
Actions have consequences. Tell me, I know you have big feelings, but we need to learn to control them.
No, you're not wrong. Conservative populist or whatever as Drudge is, at least he knows what side of the bread his butter is on. Let's put it that way. Because, like, Mark Halperin, first of all, if Mark Halperin is praising you, you know that's a real fucking problem. Because he's currently a commentator for fucking Newsmax. But, you know, Mark Halperin calls you the Walter Cronkite of his era.
Puke.
David McClintock calling him a modern Tom Paine.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Michael Isikoff of Newsweek, Drudge is a menace to honest, responsible journalism, and to the extent that he's read and people believe what they've read, he's dangerous. And I am inclined to believe with Mr. Isikoff. But dangerous or not, he managed to spin a lot of straw into gold, because that motherfucker is still sitting on, like I said, the site's still up. News is going out every day. People are sourcing him as a news source, kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar, the Gateway Pundit.
Oh, yeah.
A real loco psychopath, Jim Hoft.
Local freak
Yeah.
about town.
Exactly right. So I don't know if you saw this, but yeah, back in April, he filed for bankruptcy because of some lawsuits. There were some defamation lawsuits. And so he's filing for bankruptcy. It was him and Drudge, and now Drudge is the last man standing. And like I said, we haven't really heard from him in a while. I mean, he got bumped off the air in 2007 on the Cincinnati radio station, got replaced by Bill Cunningham. You know, he's no longer on Fox, obviously. There's really, I mean, we haven't seen hide nor hair of him. He's 57 years old, so he's not like he's died of old age or anything. But last we heard is, you know, he's living in Maryland, just kind of, sort of, maybe managing a website. And I guess at a certain point, when you're a political commentator and you've done all the damage you can, there's really not much else for you to do.
He's conquered the world, or his world.
So I love this. This is from when the first bit of Clinton scandal released. This was the BBC News link. Scandalous scoop breaks online here. Secret tapes, threats of impeachment, persistent journalists tracking the case. There's no doubt in many respects the scandal surrounding President Bill Clinton bears an uncanny resemblance to the notorious Watergate scandal, which brought down President Richard Nixon in the 70s, except for one thing, the internet. For it was in the wilds of cyberspace, not the morning paper, that the story of Bill Clinton's alleged affair with a young White House intern, Monica Lewinsky, first unfolded. Newsweek kills story on White House intern, 23-year-old, sex relationship with president, screamed a Saturday night headline on the infamous internet tip sheet, The Drudge Report. So, and it says here, The Drudge Report learned that Michael Isikoff developed the story of his career only to have it spiked by top Newsweek suits hours before publication. 85,000 subscribers got that, and then by the next day, it hit all the news groups. It was off to the races. But yeah, that opening bit, you know, like it was considered a tip sheet, not a source of actual news, but more like a
something above a blind item.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and I think that's how it functions for a lot of people today. But there's also a lot of people who take it as gospel. It's on Drudge Report. It's got to be trustworthy, which boggles the mind. But you know, you can't have everything. So what was your first exposure to the Drudge Report? Because I don't know how old you were when all this Monica Lewinsky stuff came out, but
I was very cognizant of the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. Probably was like, oh, wow, the president loves busting? Just like me.
Yeah, I guess for a 12-year-old, it definitely...
Me, the last generation that could legitimately say they jacked off to the Sears catalog.
Yeah, without having to go online. Yeah, you're right.
It's just not the same. It's just not the same jerking off to a JPEG. But, Dad, no, I'm going to get you some good Barely Legals and a couple of Marlboro Lights, and we're going to get you set straight there, Bobby.
All right, there's one joke, and I cannot remember where it came from, but I think it was Leisure Town, and it was referencing Barely Legal. It was like, Barely Legal, this should be Barely Weekly. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, you're right. Analog smut, hard to come by.
When the power goes out, man, who holds all the cards?
Exactly right. But yeah, Drudge, setting journalism back just about as much as Rush Limbaugh did. At least that's my current working theory.
Unfortunately, the cemetery which he is buried in here in St. Louis is locked most of the time.
Right.
So I can't go freely piss on it wherever I want. However, folks, I do want you to know that Phil Schlafly's grave is next door at Calvary, and it is free to piss on. It's a very plain headstone under a tree on the top of a hill. You might miss it. When you're done whizzing your asparagus piss all over Phil Schlafly's grave, you're about a quarter mile or so away from Dred Scott's newly revamped tombstone, and go drop a penny on there.
Hey, nice.
To show your respects.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And you can go visit Kate Chopin.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Ulysses S. Grant.
That's a bit of an all-star tour there, yeah.
There's a lot of people of some interesting note buried in that cemetery.
Well, now that we've talked about pissing on Rush Limbaugh, why don't we piss on our own eyeballs?
Folks, what's this going on here? Why is someone pissing in my face? The liberals are up to it again. The clowns in Congress are pissing in your face like they're pissing in mine.
The bloom is off the rose, folks. The bloom is off the rose.
It smells like piss. Who ate all the pussy? The fat cat Democrats in the White House.
Bill William Jefferson Clinton, Slick Willie, ate all the pussy. Yeah, just... He used to have a running theme in his show. It was the EIB network. And the EIB stood for Excellence in Broadcasting. Okay, the Excellence in Broadcasting Network. He's spoken to a golden microphone. I will tell you this from a production standpoint. He was not excellence in broadcasting. He would overshoot his automations all the time. He would not know when to duck in and out of audio cues. He left that to his producer, Snurdly. Excellence in broadcasting? Who are you talking about, Rush? Because it clearly isn't you. Anyway, sorry, he's dead now, and I can say that freely. Anyway, it's time for the shock. Dr. Jip-Hug.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Shock.jpg.
JPEG? JPEG? How are we saying this? JPEG. Le choc de JPEG.
What's this one
Oh,
called?
it's called Mission Impossible, Brian.
Oh
no.
Yeah. The mission is possible.
It's possible.
It's possible to right click into a private window.
Possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, dangling.
Oh no!
Dangling.
Oh no!
With a rope tied around his nutsack, and he is dangling. And then he lets go of the rope. Oh my god!
His nuts are so red. His nuts they're turning purple.
Uh-huh.
And he's like touching the stretched base of his penis. Now he's touching his feet.
Yeah, he's holding it so he can
now
spin.
He's spinning.
Yeah, it's this.
He's spinning. He's hacking the code.
So that's Mission Impossible.
This is my favorite De Palma film.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love it. Dead Reckoning would never. Imagine Tom Cruise doing that. I think is my real.
He does all of his own stunts.
Exactly.
They had to spend a whole entire week storyboarding how they're going to get him to hang from his nuts. Mm-hmm. And dude, he did it flawlessly one take.
Yeah, Ving Rhames going, I don't know how the fuck we're going to do this, man.
Well, I just got to hang from my nuts, and we can get the codes to the nuclear weapons, and we can save Prague. He's hanging from his nuts and dingling through the Reichstag to get, I don't know.
The Spear of Destiny. See, there we go. We got it.
The Spear of Destiny.
Sure, why not?
We're using the power of Hitler to destroy Islamofascism.
Sure, let's go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tale as old as time.
It's a classic.
He's on our side.
Yeah, this time.
Just this once.
But then he's going back in the box. Mission Impossible. Well, the music, too. It is cranked. Like, they really got that loud. It's very loud.
I turned on my headphones quite generously, and it still was a very decent volume.
And I think it was because it was a shock site, and it was intended to just, like...
scare the fuck out of everyone in the fucking library computer lab.
Exactly, yeah. Just... And that was an archived version from 4chan because the website that was hosted on is like long gone and the web archive is down. And so I was like, well, I know the 4chan's going to have it. And did a little digging and was able to find it. So thankfully, A little bit of sleuthing on my side wound up getting you that little treat.
What beautiful sights you have to share us.
I am kind of like your own personal Cenobite every week, aren't I? Just like angel to some, demon to others.
You're goat man. Your goat face. You have the goatsy face.
I saw something today where it was like an old textbook of a guy stretching out dough, and it just was like, God damn it, because it's a big ring of dough, and he's got his hands in between there, like stretching it all out. Like, Jesus Christ, this is exactly what it looks like, isn't it?
Yeah. What is that man doing to that dough?
Mm-hmm. He's making pizzas.
Ready to fuck this chicken?
It's time for the breath mint, baby.
It's time for your mom's favorite part of the show. It's time for the breath mint.
Oh yeah, it's breath mint time. What you got? What you got, Chief?
Well, keeping with our comic book theme from last week, I have a couple of comic book flavored delights. We were also talking about Thanks I Hate It this past week about movie soundtracks, and I reflected upon the genius that was the Alex Proyas The Crow soundtrack. And then I realized I had not yet seen the 2024 The Crow movie.
Oh God, you did it? You did it to yourself?
I did it to myself, and here's the thing. And I know you're going to take this with a grain of salt, but it wasn't so bad. There's a lot of stuff that went well. I really like Bill Skarsgård, for example. He's always a hoot in anything I see him in, be it or Boy Kills World, or, any number of things that he's been in over the past couple of years. FKA Twigs, the singer/performer, acquits herself very well of this role as kind of this lost child who's into drugs, but she's a musician, and she's kind of floating in between all these. She goes to rehab. It's an interesting character. She plays it well. So I wasn't as disappointed as some are. So what have you heard about this movie? Because I'm very curious.
I heard it had no reason to exist, and it was, at best, a oddly outdated relic being repurposed for modern consumption without ever contemplating what needed to be improved or modernized, or even what made the movie good to begin with.
Okay. And I can certainly see that as a point of contention about this movie. I think what really has to happen if you're going to go watch this movie, the two paths lie before you. One, forget the original film existed, which is very difficult because for me it was like part of my teenage goth identity. So, for me that wasn't going to be an option.
Sure.
Or you can just accept that like this is not the Eric and Shelley that existed in James O'Barr's comics or that existed in the 90s in the film. And just these are new characters. Their names just happen to be Eric and Shelley.
Okay.
It diverges so strongly from the original comic. It diverges so strongly from the film that was adapted of the comic. It bears no resemblance to anything that came before it.
Okay.
There's a few threads. Okay, Eric's a musician, but Shelley is too. They both die tragically, right? Eric comes back with the powers of the crow. Okay. That's about it. Everything else is stripped away. There's no colorful Detroit gang members. There's no young character who's kind of the connection between the dead people and the criminals. There's none of that. And I think that's to its detriment. It's not a bad movie. It's frustrating to talk about because if they had changed the characters' names, you say, well, okay, it's just another The Crow story, like City of Angels or any of the other straight-to-video sequels that they came out with. Because it feels very much like those things. They're taking the Crow idea and they're slotting in these new characters in it. Because the big bad in this one is this symphony director or this guy who procures musicians for the opera who's made a deal with the devil for immortality. Okay.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he's been entrapping these very talented musicians into his kind of satanic service, and Shelley breaks free of that control, winds up in rehab at the same time Eric is. They meet, they escape rehab, they go on this several months worth of like, yeah, we're in love, and then right before they're about to get married, they're killed because people associated with that orchestra or symphony guy. It's not unclear. The finale mostly takes place in an opera, so I'm assuming it's one or the other. But it's almost a full hour before Eric and Shelley die. So we're given a lot of backstory, right? A lot of these characters coming to know each other, falling in love, and then dying, and then Eric starts to exact his bloody revenge, but he's not very good at it. So he fucks up and he winds up getting sent back to the afterlife in the midst of a killing spree. There's some moments like that where you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting. This is an interesting idea, riffing on something that we kind of already know. By the time you get to the hour-plus mark, it's its own movie, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that I miss from the 90s one. Obviously, the soundtrack's not nearly as good, but it does include actual 80s and 90s goth stuff as opposed to covers. Like, instead of Nine Inch Nails covering a New Order song, it's the actual New Order song. Or, you know, there's a Gary Newman tune that you wouldn't have heard in the Alex Proyas one. Or, you know, like,
Sure.
There's some stuff like that where, like, okay, we're tuning into the same wavelength. It's a different story. It's markedly different in a number of ways. Because Rupert Sanders, who's the director here, you and I have talked about the Ghost in the Shell film with Scarlett Johansson. That was his other adaptation work that he'd done. And that one is very slavishly devoted, very much shot for shot in some sequences to the original. And so, okay, well, there has to be a reason why he's doing this differently here than he did with Ghost in the Shell. And why is that? Trying to do something new, I guess. That's my best guess. Trying to update the idea without straight up just doing shot for shot. And that's fine. You can do that. But there's a number of movies that have done that. But I think that it maybe got unfairly maligned. It could probably trim about 10 minutes and it'd be a nice, good pace. But for the most part, I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Is damning with faint praise, I know. But that's the way I feel about it. Have you any interest in seeing this? Are you curious at all?
I am not curious. I've never even seen the original Crow.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, that was a formative part of my teenage goth identity.
Believe me,
many people. Yeah, I'm not alone in this. I'm aware.
Yeah, a lot of people I knew in high school that were like a little too mopey for me. I was a pretty mopey kid.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, geez, these guys. Okay. I'm glad we didn't cross paths then, because I don't think you would have liked me very much at that point in my life. But I've mellowed out a bit in the past 20 years or so. How about yourself, Brian? What have you been up to?
A couple different things.
Oh, tell us.
I think really the big thing I have to talk about this week, because I've just been, we record last Sunday.
Right. Hasn't been very long since we've seen each other.
Time to really talk about a lot. I think the one big thing I have to talk about is season 3 of You.
Okay.
Which I have found to be surprisingly good. It might even be the best season of the show so far.
Interesting. Now, I've heard the same thing from other people who are fans of the show, but I clocked out after season 2. Should I get back into it?
I think you should jump back in.
Okay.
It subverts some of your expectations. I mean, it's still following a formula.
Sure.
Some things are a little bit predictable,
right.
But it is interesting enough and varied enough to be worth your time. It goes some really interesting places and sets up some really surprising moments. Things going a certain direction kind of out of nowhere, but in a way that feels natural.
Huh.
You think you're going to get a certain expectation and it goes somewhere different, but as you see it develop, you're like, oh, of course, why wouldn't it go this way? So basically, Joe and Love, they have their child named Henry, and the child's middle name is 40, of course. They move to a rich upper middle class enclave in Northern California, and they kind of have like this typical white picket fence upper middle class life. Both of them seem to kind of struggle with it in different ways. Joe all of a sudden realizes he's becoming infatuated with the wife of the man next door.
Oh, no.
And Love finds out, and that goes some interesting places, which I'm not going to spoil. This happens in the first episode or two.
Okay.
I think one of the things I find interesting about You is that it kind of lampoons or satirizes a lot of stuff about modern culture that doesn't feel like cringe or like it's has like a clear political agenda other than like people are kind of full of their own shit and they don't realize that maybe that all we know how to interact with people is like one person companies.
Okay.
They like the inauthenticity or the like personas that we adapt. And I think Joe himself is obviously probably the best at that, because what kind of person really is Joe?
Yeah, he's a cipher.
Yeah, he is typically adaptable. He's not always one step ahead, but he sees what's coming around the corner probably better than most people. The way season 2 ends with, Love killing 2 people that he's been involved with, he realizes that she is not as tactful or as graceful in her violence as him.
Okay.
And that makes him uneasy as the season progresses. And he's kind of then, without giving too much spoiler here, kind of trying to figure out how he's going to get out of it.
Oh, okay.
Without, I guess, like murdering his wife.
Right.
And he struggles with fatherhood. And that's a big part of the first couple episodes, and that kind of really drifts into the far, far background as other
right.
More interesting and bizarre things occur. We just finished the 8th episode of the 10-episode season.
Oh, wow.
And boy, oh boy, does it really start. It really fucking goes a lot of wild-ass places. There's an incredible fight scene with Joe and another person that didn't need to be as good as it was. It could have been something much simpler, and it probably would have done what it needed to do, but someone must have fucking been drinking good coffee while they were writing that out and blocking it, because it really is like, oh wow, this is really lively. Like, did they actually bring in like people to figure out how they were going to do the blocking, how they were going to it fucking goes hard. And most stuff that involves like physical violence in this show is like, good editing cuts to mask like when you're putting in the stunt double, just to someone's an action is happening to someone, and that person is getting just like pushed onto like, say, like a crash mat, but that is being spliced in with a cut with like a stunt double, like it's just all very simple 2 or 3 camera cut kind of things, but this goes much further. And now I'm really interested to see what happens in the last 2 episodes of this season.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's season 2 was fun, and I enjoyed it. And season 3 I thought was going to be repetitive.
Yeah,
but it fucks with you a little bit and kind of takes that formula and does some interesting stuff with it. So I'm recommending season 3 so far. It would have to really fuck up from here to lose my enthusiasm.
Okay. Well, I, for some reason, decided to go back to The Bear for its 3rd season, and I didn't make it very far. The first 2 episodes are, I don't know if have you watched The Bear? Are you familiar with The Bear at all?
I know it exists. I have no desire to watch it.
All right. So the basic premise is that this guy Carmi, he has traveled all over the world. He's worked in all these Michelin star restaurants. He's like a professional, capital P, professional, capital C chef. He's the guy. And he moves back to his south side of Chicago neighborhood after his brother's suicide leaves him in charge of this sandwich shop called The Beef. And the whole first season is about them dealing with all this shit happening now that this has happened. The second season then dealt with, we're going to take this sandwich shop and turn it into a fucking fine dining establishment. The whole of season 2 is, we're building it, we're running into problems. We're building it, we're running into problems. We're sending these guys off to be trained. None of it led to any actual, movement in the plot aside from, we're getting ready. Last episode, opening night, shit goes wrong. That was where the second season left us. Third season opens with the aftermath of shit going wrong in everyone's life, personal, professional, chefs, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with typical shows, you would show something happening. What this show chose to do instead is to spend 40 minutes of the first episode of the 3rd season showing us things that we already know about and trying to do this 40-minute character study with minimal dialogue, told mostly in flashback. I don't watch shows week to week if I can help it. You know, I like to binge it. I like to have it at my fingertips. If I had watched a show like this week to week, and I waited X amount of months for this third season to premiere, and I come into this first season, that's what I get, and then I have to wait another week for some actual plot to happen, I would have been pissed. So the second episode is 30 minutes of the staff yelling at each other. There's dialogue and there's some interesting character stuff happening, but it's 30 minutes of the staff yelling at each other. I gave it 2 more episodes and I'm like, I can't fucking deal with this show anymore. I can't fucking do it. There's nothing happening. It's not that there's nothing happening. It's just that what's happening is all character development and no plot. I don't know where this is going. I guess the real plot is, are they going to get the Michelin star? But at this point, I don't fucking care anymore. I just don't care. I don't care anymore. You've lost me. And so then that was when we started The Boys season 4. And we blew through that like a rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Boys season 4, what a ripper. I love it. It feels like Eric Kripke is just really like, hey, how much gore can we get away with?
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
It's gnarly, but it also, some of it feels earned. Some of it is just gratuitous, and it's hard to tell which is which sometimes. I do love Homelander starting to show his cracks. That, to me, Anthony Starr is killing it. I don't really feel like we need Billy Butcher anymore. I feel like Carl is just kind of there.
Sure.
I loved seeing Mother's Milk, getting more screen time and being more of a presence, because I feel like at some point, Billy Butcher is going to die, and is going to have to step up, and he's been doing it so well this season. I really love all the stuff with them tying into the Gen V show. That was kind of neat. That was nice.
Yeah.
I liked Frenchie kind of evolving as a character, because he's always kind of been one note, and they really gave him a chance to shine here.
What if I was, I hated being a piece of shit?
What if I also liked Dick as well?
What if I was, in for a good time? I thought it was fine. I thought the season was enjoyable.
It definitely had some overheated or undercooked bits. I could have really stayed a little longer with the Bobby Singer character, which is a fun bit of Kripke-verse riffing, because that's Jim Beaver. He was on Supernatural playing a character named Bobby Singer. He's playing a different character with the same name on a different show, but it's also a riff on a producer of Supernatural whose name is Robert Singer. It's it's just Eric Kripke being like, hey, you guys like Supernatural, right? But yeah, that whole segment in the bunker, it's like, man, we could have really milked this. This could have been a real tense...
A whole episode.
I was going to say, yeah, it could have been a whole real tense thing, because I remember when Homeland did that, something similar at least, where there was, we're all in a bunker, and who's the bad guy? We're all looking around. And yeah, they could have stretched that out a bit more. People really ragged on Erin Moriarty's nose job a little too much. I think it's fine. She got some filler, so what? Who fucking cares?
I don't know. It's just like, what's the Martian character from the comic books?
Martian Manhunter? No.
There we go. Martian Manhunter. I didn't know Martian Manhunter was in The Boys.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
There we go.
There you go.
There we go. That's your weekly misogyny for 40 minutes of Dogs Barking. There we go.
Okay, well, let me...
We did it. We hit the quote, folks. We can, the union has given me the A-OK. The Woman Haters 403.
We can clock
gave
out.
me the A-OK. We're good. We're good. Our benefits are good for another month.
Oh,
brother.
good. Whew. I was starting to worry there for a minute. Yeah.
our benefits are a stepped-on pack of Decades and a bottle of plastic jug vodka.
I was going to say Bronson's or Double Diamonds, but yeah, Decades, we're doing all right.
Decades.
Yeah.
Decades when you used to at least get your oil changed on time.
Exactly. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
You like Decades. Everything else in your life is fucked. But you're like, you know what, man? I know where I'm getting I know where I need to get my oil changed.
Handbook says 3,000 miles. And motherfucker, I'm going to...
I know exactly. To the T. I'm rolling up to the fucking oil change place To the muffler shop exactly on the right mile.
You're like tapping your watch. Come on, brother, let's go.
Time is money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, season 4 is fun. I think season 5 could be a hoot.
Yeah, hoping.
They're bringing back Soldier Boy, which was the best part of season 3.
Indeed, yet another supernatural guy coming back. So
yeah,
love to see it.
If anything, just for the surrealism that Soldier Boy was, like him doing fucking Blondie on Solid Gold.
Oh, hell yeah. I had forgotten about that episode. And then you go to the Mars and you eat up cars.
He's eating cars.
He's eating the cars. He's
eating the cars. The Subarus.
Of the people who live there. I think,
amazing.
Yeah. Some of the QAnon shit in Boys Season 4 was a little on the nose for me, but...
Yeah.
It's the same problems in a universe where people just explode other people for no reason. So I guess we're still beholden to the same forces of, capitalism and political disinformation. So I guess it kind of tracks. It did feel weird.
Yeah.
It felt really weird because they did the Pizzagate thing down to them showing up at Starlight or HQ with guns saying, "Show us the basement where the children are." I'm like, okay, all right. Can you change it a little bit? Like... Give me something here.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
I always feel like that thing is like it's a bit on the nose, isn't it? It's gonna date the show because like in 10 years, who's gonna be like, what?
I don't know, man. You might be surprised.
Yeah, I probably will be. I am often. How about you? Anything else happening in your world?
Oh man, I'm fucking boring. I got Messengers and Wonder Years tomorrow night.
Excellent.
At the pageant. Boris Sunday night.
Oh.
And next week, Rise Against and Mannequin Pussy.
On the same bill?
No.
Oh.
It was concurrent days.
I was going to say, Jesus.
No, that would be almost too much. That would be almost obnoxious.
Two very different crowds as well.
Yeah, Mannequin Pussy I'm stoked for. Rise Against will just be a fun show. And tomorrow night will be a good time as well. I'm really probably, I think, most excited to see Boris because they're playing Amplifier Worship in its entirety.
Fuck yeah. Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
What a great record.
I mean, I only really like half of it, but you kind of can only like the half that I like. You can't get there without listening to the other half.
Yeah, it's a package deal. Yeah, exactly right.
You kind of need one side to balance out the other. If you just listen to the parts that have like the fucking neat grooves, they don't hit the same if you didn't have to listen to like the same like doom drone for the last like 6-7 minutes.
And see, that's where I'm at with like, Mars Volta stuff. But you and I fundamentally disagree on that one. But I it's that kind of thing where like, if I didn't have the 12-minute freak out about the worm who eats babies, I also wouldn't enjoy the Santana riffs.
Cockroach that died because he organized a labor strike.
Exactly. And then you wouldn't enjoy the 3-minute, Carlos Santana solo. So, I mean, you got to,
right.
There's a
That's
give and
fair.
take. I guess it's about time to tell people where to find us online, Brian.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if you want to find me on the internet and tell me I'm stupid, you can find me at iShotGuideboard, ISHOTGUIDBORD on Le Twitter. And you can find me over at Instagram at a music photographer. And speaking of a music photographer, if you want to see a website that doesn't work, you can go over to musicphotographer.com. If you want to see my music portfolio and some other shit I've done, you can head over to assholemusicphotographer.com, which is always going to be working.
Yeehaw.
It's never going to shut. Yeehaw. It's always going to be there, folks. And then if you want to go to the last and only good media website left in St. Louis, you can go over to theartsstl.com. My Frank Turner piece just went live a couple days ago. It's some of the worst writing I've ever done, but the foes are good.
You say that all the time.
This is level bad.
Oh, come on now. I'm still terrified of that woman. I don't know.
She can't go outside.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyways, where can they find you?
Oh, yeah. You can find me on any social media platform that you can think of, be it Mastodon, Blue Sky, Twitter, or wherever. It's Videocrime, VIDEOCRIME. You can also find me as part of a podcast that isn't this one, called Submitted for the Approval of the Midnight Pals. There, I play a fictionalized version of horror writer Stephen King. I have a little picture of Stephen sitting right in front of me here at the desk. We're premiering our new episodes very, very soon. We have a little mini episode out this past week, and it's a fun one. That is midnight-pals.simplecast.com or anywhere fine podcasts are sold. You can reach the show in a myriad of different ways, not the least of which is the telephone. That's 314-246-9766. That's 314-AHOY POO if you like to spell with your telephone. Shoot us an email, jason@48minutesdogsbarking.com or Brian with a Y at 48minutesdogsbarking.com. Yeah, let us know what you think of the show. Compliments, complaints, questions, queries.
Death threats.
Anything.
It is really no loads refused.
It is indeed. Absolutely. And when we say, we mean it. You can also support the show, patreon.com/48minutesofdogs. There you will find our weekly post-show hangout that we like to call Thanks, I Hate It, and the Mind Zone. And if you're one of the lucky few to get in at the $10 level before the end of the year, oh boy, you're going to get yourself a commentary track 90 minutes long for the Japanese puke fetish video Garo Monster Home Delivery. I am looking forward to / really terrified about that one. So make your vote count. get those dollars in there, because it's kind of a one-time deal. I don't know how many times I'm going to be willing to sit down and watch an entire video like that. So
same.
I know, yeah. I've been dreading this since we put this challenge out there. We're going to do it. We're not going to chicken out.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's just we're going to have buckets, I think is what the protocol is going to be.
Buckets and buckets of buckets.
Well, that about does it for the program. My name's Jason. This is Brian. And as we always say at this time, namaste, good luck, give mommy a good gut fucking, 25th Amendment now, eat the knife, who ate all the pussy?
That's it. That's all we got. There's nothing. Go home. Go home. Get out of here, nerd.
Bye-bye.
Go get.